Georgia Congressman Rich McCormick is member of the House Oversight Committee and joins us now. It really is pretty eye-opening when you look at these allegations that they were funding hate groups that they were then raising money to fight. The House Judiciary Committee hoping to get to the bottom of that. What are you expecting to hear? What are you listening for?
Well, first of all, realize this is not surprising to a lot of us up here in D.C. There's a lot of organizations that literally fund themselves off of the hate and discontent that they create. We've seen Stacey Abrams do this. We've seen other organizations that literally, as they become successful in eliminating something that would be considered by most people bad, they back off because they don't want to be too successful. If they're really successful in accomplishing their mission, they go away. So they like the contention, they like the hatred, they like the discontent because that's how they raise their money. And this is probably the worst of the worst when you actually talk about a specific example.
Who knew that hate could be a cash cow, right? That's the allegation here, that they were purposely funneling money to the KKK so they could drum up more hatred, more civil unrest, so then they could get more donations coming in. You were talking about it, Edie, but the point of them doing that was for informants. They say they were claiming lives. So this is not a cut and dry case, and it won't be easy to prove. What do you think, sir?
It won't be easy to prove, but I think the proof is what many organizations are doing. You can see this historically. Back in the 80s, I thought racial tension had greatly diminished, and yet it got revived by the very groups that said they were fighting racism. Government will never solve racism. Human relationships, sitting down at meals, people interacting with people is what solves racism. But these propagated groups that basically rile people up and talk about racism as if it was still a problem with our young people. Anybody who knows and watches people in high school knows that they have very little attention until they're taught to be racist. And that's the problem with our society right now.
Well, one of the informants that they allegedly paid, I don't think they've disputed it, was one of the organizers of the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where a person was killed and 19 other people were injured. And, and this has been a cash cow. As soon as that happened, then they go to their donors and they say, look, there's all this racist hate around there. We need more money. Yeah. That's why their asset base grew from this $189 million in 2005 to over $822 million in 2024. And that's what's earned them on Charity Watch's website an F for how they perform as a charity. Kind of damning.
There are a lot of charities. Yeah, there are a lot of charities that exist simply to fund their administrators. We've seen it with even good programs, and I'm going to pick on a program I actually like in some ways, but the Wounded Warriors program, where 90% of the funds raised went to the administrative costs, not to the actual warriors who were wounded. We've seen this with everything from Red Cross and other organizations that basically start off with a great principled intent, but then lose themselves because they spend all their money on the administration and not in actually helping the people they're supposed to.
All right, let's turn to the ongoing fraud investigations. Last night, Vice President J.D. Vance, he made a major announcement regarding the probe into the officer of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
We actually referred this particular case to the Department of Justice for a full criminal investigation. We are not going to do what the Biden administration did and make judgments of the law before all the facts are in. Clearly, people weren't taking fraud seriously. Whether it rises to the level of a criminal violation, we're going to investigate it. And of course, if it does rise to that level, we're going to prosecute it. We have to.
Of course, Nick Shirley, that independent journalist, he kind of blew the lid on this. Billions of dollars in alleged fraud, specifically by the Somali community there, the infamous Leering Center. Sir, could we possibly see Governor Tim Walz in handcuffs? Because I think people want accountability. That's what they want. We talk about all this fraud. How could he not have known? How is he not under arrest already?
And I think the American people are absolutely sick to death because they get held accountable.
Right.
Anybody who says, oh, I didn't know the law, it's not an excuse. You broke the law, whether you knew it or not. He's going to say, I didn't know. Actually, it was on your watch. How did you not know? And quite frankly, I'm kind of upset with the federal government, too, because we fund all these programs with very little accountability, and that's why people are angry. We know we're in 30% deficit spending per year. We're $40 trillion in debt. We're paying $1 trillion on interest on that debt every year, and yet we continue to fund these programs without accountability. It takes some young 20-something-odd-year-old reporter who goes out there on his own.
Yeah, well, that went viral. That's what helped it, because they've been investigating it since 2014. Investigators told me as soon as they would bring up the problems, then they would be told,
Worst kept secret.
drop it. Yeah.